Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to Small Talk. This is the Smallville podcast here on this channel. I'm one third of your co-host. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We have gotten past the season 7 premiere, and now we are beginning our journey into the shortest season of this show. I believe it's the shortest. I will be corrected if I'm wrong. This was due to a writer's strike, of course, but shortest season, but I'm told it's like the last classic season. But we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. But first, I have to introduce my co-host. First, from 3D Movie Cinema, it's Jacob Collins. Jacob, how you doing?
Well, it's been forever since we did this. I grew out my beard and everything. I feel like it's been age, like the Titanic meme. What's the Titanic one where it's like,
It's been 84 years.
I know, I was like sitting there like, man, I want to talk about Smallville, but like, yeah, I gotta wait like freaking next week. I'm like, damn.
Well, your patience has paid off. Matt Wyatt, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm getting excited to get into these 3 episodes. And yeah, you're definitely right. We mentioned this many times that this is the shortest season because of the writer's strike. And originally it would have been at 23 episodes, but it was been trimmed down to 20. But I will say that this is one of the better, strongest season than season 6.
Oh, this season, a lot of Smallville fans have said, like I was talking to my friend, a friend of our a mutual friend of ours, and he said, "Oh, season 7 is like a really good season." And he said it is like the strongest season, like out of Smallville, because they were like, this was like a farewell season for for like the showrunners, and they were like, we're gonna give it all we got, every idea we want to use, we're gonna use.
It's been a while since we've done a show in our classic format because we've been live for the season 6 ending, the season 6 finale and the season 7 premiere, but we are back like we never left, in the words of Macklemore. So let's get into it. This is season 7, episode 2, called Kara.
Not only is she as strong as I am, she can fly.
Krypton salvation is on Earth. You and I were the key.
Are you some kind of savior, or are you a warning?
Everything you hold dear in this world could be lost.
Who are you gonna trust, Claire?
All new Smallville, this Thursday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Clark and Lois discover Kara's spaceship, but before they can open it, Kara appears and knocks Lois out. Clark is shocked after Kara tells him she is there to protect baby Kal-El. Despite Kara's appearance, a despondent Clark decides that without Lana, there is nothing keeping him in Smallville. Here we go again. And heads to the Fortress of Solitude to begin his training as a superhero. However, Jor-El tells him Kara's father, Zor-El, who is Jor-El's brother, I guess because they just don't talk about the other brother named Dor-El, is evil and Kara is dangerous. Therefore, Clark must stay in Smallville to find out why she came to Earth. Lex makes a stunning discovery regarding Lana and Project 33.1. In other words, Lana's alive. She's alive! She's alive! She's alive!
One question, we brought this up in the premiere, but did you really believe that Lana was actually dead and they killed her off on the show? And you never
He
believed
really
that
didn't think it. He thought she was dead.
even though she shows up in the opening credits as the main series or this regular on the show.
He thought that was just like a fake out.
I should
Yeah,
have
because I
known
know
better.
because I already know that they revealed her being alive at the end of the first episode of the premiere.
I should have known better, but I and my love of this show was like, I'm going to let myself go and just like footprints in the sand. I'm just going to let the big man take it from here. But it turns out instead of carrying me along the beach, I just now have sand up my crack. But this episode is actually pretty solid, I think. I'm really liking Kara already, played by Laura Vandervoort. Or Vort? Vort?
I
I'll
always
put
call her
her
Vandervoort.
Vandervoort, yes, but
No
I
one,
think
no one can actually pronounce her last name right. I can't even do it right. And I actually, the first time I've seen her act before Smallville, I remember she was in a Disney Channel movie called My Mom's Got a
Mom's
Date
got
with
a
the
Date with
Date with the Vampire. That was the one. She played the sister, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't seen her act in a long time, and I know she's probably been in a lot of smaller roles, but yeah, her playing Kara Zor-El, I thought she was absolutely fantastic the moment we meet her on screen and make a really good impression with who is a character who is lost and doesn't know where to find baby Kal-El, and thought that and she's been in
It's a
suspension
fish
of
out of water
animation.
story.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And when she meets up with Clark, finding out that she's now pretty much in the same age as him really shocked her, and her being overwhelmed that her home planet Krypton was destroyed really just blew it out of the water. I mean, like no pun intended. But yeah, I thought that it was a great way to having Clark to be a little bit more of the mentor for Kara, helping her understand this world and helping her out trying to find her ship, and actually asking her, tell me about my home, because I have no memories of Krypton, and apparently you knew me as a baby.
You know what I really noticed though? Like I said, this story, like, it's like I kind of felt like the only thing when I was rewatching this, I was like, this feels so much like one of those stories where it's a fish out of water story. And then, like I said, it kind of didn't bother you whenever Clark's like, we're the only two left. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, as many people have you encountered for, you should say, like I said, my sister, what by whenever I was like on there, and she goes, why don't you say we are, he says, we right now, we're the people that are here. I'm like,
We are the last survivors. Well, sort of. Because how many
like,
Kryptonians that we came across? We came
come from
across with
Krypton.
we came across two Kryptonians from season 5. Then
And
we
the
came across
Brainiac.
Zod. Well, Brainiac's not really Kryptonian, but but sort of ish. But yeah, we came across a few Kryptonians. So technically they're not like the last survivors. They're the last remaining survivors of Krypton.
I do like though that whenever she has the crystal of like the little like jewel of baby Kal-El, I thought that was pretty neat.
They definitely they took the stock footage from season 3 of the memory from Clark. If you remember that episode, remember
Yeah, I
that when he
thought
was
that
in
was
the
pretty
Krypton.
cool.
I thought it was a pretty good editing technique, and in her just cracking a smile when she sees baby Kal-El from that emblem crystal of the shield in her hand and flying off into space, which I thought was a pretty great sequence.
I also thought that was really cool that her picking up school children is like, are you Kal-El? What's your name? Mark? Like as if like they're gonna remember the Kal-El. Like she got
That's like what, if he's been raised on Earth, he doesn't
surely his
really
name's
know
not even
what his name is.
Kal-El.
Like you're not gonna know that's Kal-El, and he's not gonna say his name if he has no knowledge of his home world and his name. He could have been fucking called Bob for all we know, for crying out
You know
loud.
what's weird? I said I was gonna say Bob too. That was so fucking weird. I was gonna say Bob.
And also the wardrobe for Kara. They poked fun of it because she dresses up as Daisy Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard.
I am not necessarily complaining about that option, but also
Come on, even at the time when most fans like myself, we watched it and we all had a big crush on that actress.
There's a couple
Oh
things I
God.
watched in like especially in the next one, the Drop Dead Gorgeous episode, where like she's in a bikini and just like with the book on her head. I'm like, yeah, today they would say the network's like, yeah, we can't use that because with today's standards, so we can't.
They don't
use
want to
that.
sexualize her.
Yeah.
me in the future put up just any random photo of Lauren Vandervoort with the Mr. Incredibles clip of him whistling going.
I will say the only thing that bothered me about like the scene when she's at the preschool, I'm like, there are no teachers around. Like literally, just there's no kids. There's like a bunch of kids playing on the playground.
There's no adults watching them.
Like literally, she could if she had an ice cream van, she could literally have like.
I mean,
20
where's the
children in her
parental
van.
supervision? Where's the fucking parents? Where
It
did they
was
go?
2007.
Did they went off and was it a little bit of lonely to get loan or something? What the hell are
I'm
they?
sorry, okay, but like creepy people existed in 2007. I mean, there was like six. I'm sure that if you looked in 2007 in news clippings, there's like at least 16 child abduction cases in 2007.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
even before our time.
luckily this is Canada.
Quickly running out of real estate.
Which one thing I will say though, I did like that Lex Luthor was in prison. I like how he's in a jumpsuit and he's trying to atone for his sins. I like that. He was like, I deserve this. I thought that was pretty neat.
So apparently he was bailed out of jail a lot sooner because of his father was trying to do a cover story of an old employee from Luthor Corp that he was dying of cancer. And they're trying to use a cover story that he was the one that blew up Lana when really no. And he had a feeling that she is not dead. So what did you think of this reveal of how that Lana was able to fake her own death?
I mean,
are we not going to talk about this shit? Like, come on, bro.
Was literally never even a thought in this show before this episode. Like,
apparently cloning is now a thing. Lex
Oh
now
my,
has stepped it up a notch.
this,
Now you know who the 503 was that was name dropped while he was still in the jail cell by his own guy who was using a tape recorder in the first episode. Like, who the hell was 503? Oh, guess what? It was Lana's clone named Lana 503, bro. She
Which,
used
by
her
the way,
clone.
does that
She
make
literally
sense? Does
uses
that
her
logically
clone
make
to
sense
fake her
though?
own death. And how the fuck did she be
That
able to
seems
get
like,
away with that?
what's that thing you always say, man? I was thinking about today when you was
Oh, it's
watching.
gonna be super easy, barely inconvenience.
Exactly. I was
And
thinking
all,
about.
yeah, and also, how the fuck did she break into that fucking Luthor Corps facility without being detected? How the hell did she
my
sneak in that?
question, my question is, how did Lex get the DNA necessary to do that? Or you know what? I don't even want to know.
Well, the cloning DNA matches. They even mentioned that the DNA is full on matched with Lana's DNA. So, yeah,
In
and
in the
also how
words
they were able to search for Lana in China. She literally leave the trail of breadcrumbs the moment he was bailed out of jail.
in the words of Adam Levine from Maroon 5, I don't want to know, no, no, who's taking you home, 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 and loving you so, so, so. But this clone thing was just
That was
stupid.
so freaking dumb. That was so dumb because I'm sitting there going like, like Lex Luthor is essentially like literally like, okay, I understand the soldier thing because you're taking soldiers that have died and you're basically twerking, playing God, twinking them up and everything, and twirling them and making them soldiers. That makes sense to me. Then cloning people, I'm like, oh God, okay,
Well, it's
literally.
not. Well, we're living in Smallville. We're now people getting infected by meteors, and we have aliens and gods. So I don't think that's far fetched when it comes to the fucking scientific human cloning at this point. I think we're far beyond with realistic logic world at this point.
I do think that I do like though that Lex, Chloe and Lex, when she sees Lex there, like she's like, oh my God, like looking at him like you're out of prison, like and I like that. I like that aspect of it. And you know who I really like this so far is that Grant Gabriel. He is a
Oh
really
yeah,
good
Michael
character.
Cassidy. Michael Cassidy. We see him appear, and the first time I've seen him in another movie, it was called Zoom with Tim Allen. You remember that
That's the
super
first time I
that
seen him. Yeah,
Yeah. You're not the only one either. You saw him too. Yeah. It's like, oh God, this is the dude from Zoom who plays a teenager,
he's also in.
Even though he looks 30
Ironically,
years old.
he was also in Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead at the opening of
And
the
he was
opening.
also in Batman v
He's
Superman that
Superman.
played
Jimmy
Jimmy
Olsen.
Olsen, who was also supposed to be playing a spy that gets gunned down earlier in the
It's
movie.
okay, Lois.
It's all
Like,
right, Lois.
but you know what I will say though. You know what I will say
That's
though.
kind of funny that we see him meet up with the other actor Jimmy Olsen in this show. How convenient was that?
Yeah, which I will say though, his character. All I will say about his character is he is a reoccurring character. This isn't like a one and done. Like I know a lot of times they introduced like Carrie Fisher was a one and done thing, and like this is not a one and done thing. This character is here to stay for a while. So I mean, just like
I
so,
mean,
just
he's labeled as more of a guest star, but he's in more episodes and he does play a pivotal role and he's a recurring character that we can't reveal that
I'm
they
not.
will get into later in this season.
he gives off the energy that like he's going to be the subject of a lawsuit like 15 years down the line.
Like to me, he's a nice guy. Like although he does fancy Lois. Okay, you
Yeah,
can't
it's like
blame.
the moment she starts name dropping spaceship and suddenly you take an
It's
interest in
not
name.
Harvey Weinstein. Okay, he's not like, hey Lois, why don't you come sit on my lap? Okay,
No,
and
no,
I'll
I'm
get
It's
you
not
not like
some.
he's
saying
trying to.
that.
It's not like he's trying to like do a sexual harassment thing
He
going on
shows
at
up
Daily
naked
Play.
and says, "Hey Lois, this isn't gonna blow itself.
But
You
I'm
want a
not saying
promotion?
that.
Break out the lotion."
What I'm saying is that it's like the Bill Burr bit where he's talking about the sportscaster who is like, oh, he's got a bit of a quick twitch about him, and then the next thing you know, he's fired with a box and he's got an Oscar like hanging out of it. Like, oh, I said it was a quick twitch, like so I'm just saying the future is not bright for him and
I mean,
his
the only thing is though, he likes her, so he gave her like a promotion, like a job there, and I'm thinking, yeah.
He literally just gave her a job after trying to get a story from a
But to be fair,
spaceship,
she
even
had
though
a
he was
shitty
never going to
story.
print it.
Oh, Chloe could file a grievance against him because she says he fancies her, and that is exactly why he hired her. Okay, because that story is shit. Okay, I can write better stories than Lois
Yeah,
Lane.
like Daily. Yeah, here's the thing: Daily Planet does not like fucking post news from alien extraterrestrial. That's just something that the tabloids would do, not a real news fucking reporting at the Daily Planet. Like, really?
Although I really, really wish that Grant Gabriel would have said, because she says, I work for your competition. He says the Inquisitor, And he goes, "We have no competition." I kind of wish he would have said,
There is no rival. There is no rival with the Inquisitor.
I wish he would have said, "The planet has no competition except the Gotham Gazette, those bastards." I wish he would have said
That would have been
like,
that would have been great if he did name drop Gotham,
Gotham is. I was like, because that
which
would have
they
been like,
had done it many times. They did it many times before in the last season.
Also, this was so funny. Did y'all notice the product placement in this movie with the freaking there's literally a shot. I sent Ryan a picture. It's literally a Volt sign, a Volt energy drink sign. Like literally there's a skyscraper and there's a Volt energy drink. I'm like, that is an odd place to put a product
Wow.
placement.
I don't know. I didn't spot that.
I told
God,
Ryan, I said,
I gotta watch that episode again. I did not.
either
What
I said
scene was it? Which scene was it?
I'll send you the picture though.
All right, all right.
It's
I'm ahead of you, Collins. I'm sending it to him.
I said literally, I said it either it was the skyscraper and they just happened to catch that sign, or because most of the time I was sitting there talking with someone, I was like, "There's no way that drink would, if it was a product placement, it would be sitting on Chloe or Clark's desk or somebody's desk."
Yeah, it would be sitting next to a desk. It
I
would be
think
sitting
really
on
that
like
was
a
just they were just
skyscraper.
taking a landscaping shot of like Vancouver, and then that would just happen to be there.
They just forgot to edit that out in the
Yeah.
post.
But it could be. I'd be shocked if that was product placement. I'm like, there's no way this is product placement because it's so tiny.
Wow, good, nice spot. I did not spot that. I'm not gonna lie.
Also, the cell phone scene made me laugh because I kind of wish that Kira, I wish Supergirl would have said, didn't say, see, this is what happens when you touch my stuff. Also, this is what happens when you don't use Sprint phones. Tonight's episode brought to you by Sprint.
Brought to you by Sprint.
Can you hear me now?
They did promote Sprint. They was a big thing back in the late 2000s. There was a big thing. But they did explain of why her ship was not shown all these years, because it was buried underwater, and then the dam broke and it brought her to the surface.
Who puts a bomb in the ship? Who puts a bomb? Like, imagine.
Well, no, it was not a bomb. No, it was set at the self-destruct to anyone who tries to go inside the ship and who was trying to look inside anything that can operate the ship, and they set it to self-destruct as a backup, whatever. And that I thought it made sense.
That made me laugh. I was dying laughing whenever you hear the car alarm. I'm like, who put a car alarm? Is that their alarm system, or is that her ship?
It sounded like a car alarm. It did sound like a car alarm when we started to hear that ringing noise, the high frequency thing that was the ringing on that ship.
That is a terrible choice for either.
And also, Lois was able to sneak into the government facility through the ship. How the fuck did she get in? I really don't know how she.
And then
how is it not? I swear to God, like we already know we burned so many bridges with so much bitch about securities by not doing their job in the show. It went off the door. Barely anyone can get in.
In another episode we're going to be talking about, we later learned that Lana has a computer setup that would make XQC blush. I'm just sitting there like, multiple monitors, cameras where you can spy on Lex. Who set you up with this?
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that episode very soon. But now that this new lead of the government agency that plays a big role in this season, which I forgot the actor's name, but I known him from Sons of Anarchy.
Kim Coates.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Kim Coates. Yeah, he was also Resident Evil 4, that shitty Resident Evil movie, and of course he was also in Bad Boys 1. He's in a lot of he plays villain roles in a lot of movies.
Yeah, he's usually typecast playing more like antagonist roles or more complex roles like Sons of Anarchy, for instance.
Also, the Island of Mike. He's in a lot of Michael Bay stuff too.
He was Tiger, right?
Tiger and Sons of Anarchy?
He was, or Tig, I think his name was.
I think it may be Tig. I'm Tiger. I was like, what? I don't remember that
guy's
name.
He was Tigger. Yeah, he was Tigger.
Yeah, he was Tigger.
Tigger and
his name is Tig. His name is Tig. You got that right the second time. Tig Traeger.
You want to hear something funny about Tigger, Winnie the Pooh? So the guy who wrote the Minions movie, a guy named, I think his name was what's his name? I think Dave. His name, Dave. Is it Dave Mandel or is it another writer? It was another writer that Kevin Smith knows. He just wrote like the last Despicable Me movie, and he got to start writing the Tigger movie for Disney. And he wrote a joke that he thought was so funny that he said the adults would laugh. And it was like where he says, like, Pooh goes, "Tigger, please." And so Disney then sees it and goes, You got to cut that joke out. No, you can't use that. No.
Oh my God.
They said that's too close to the other word. You got to cut that out.
That's way too close and way too on the nose to
So
have that
they cut
word.
that line.
You got to cut that shit out.
Like, because I'm like, because Pooh says that, and Jim Cummings thought that was hilarious. He goes, no, he said you can't. They said this director's like, you can't. Disney will never approve that line, never. So he's like, damn
Wasn't
it.
what? Here's the thing. Going back to the scene with Kara and Clark, that was so funny of Clark's reaction that they're cousins. The way he was reacting, so that makes us cousins. So I was like, what kind of reaction was that? Were you expecting to have the
Like,
hots for her or something, and then
cousins.
you found out that that he's your cousin, that she's her cousin? Oh my God.
Well, they are from Kansas after all,
I
so
mean,
it's not that far
well,
fetched.
they're in the Midwest. They're not in the South. They're not like in Alabama or Missouri.
Or Mrs. fucking
What?
Sippy.
Oh, fuck you. You're in Florida, dumbass, okay? So who the fuck's in Florida, okay? You got gators, hillbillies, and like freaking, what's that? What's the pythons trying to eat you? Pretty much, if you walk out of Florida, everything is trying to kill you in Florida.
Oh,
Which they're
he's
making, which they're already doing GTA 6 anyway, which it's pretty
Because they said
heavily
they wanted to put in the
Florida.
most fucked up city possible. And I'm like, Florida?
It's literally more Florida influence when it's not called Florida. Kind of like with GTA 5. That was literally Los Alamos. That's definitely fucking LA.
when things go to die, they go to Mrs. fucking Sippy. But
Whenever people go to try, when they're 85 and they want to retire, they go to Florida. Or if they want to really just like, if they're like hillbillies, they want to go to freaking Florida. So that way, because they want to catch gators, pythons, and do meth.
And also the crystal that Kara had, that it's supposed to be most important, that she's supposed to guard it with her life, that her father Zarel told her before the planet was destroyed. So that crystal is going to be playing a little bit of a bigger role, which we can't reveal.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also somehow the lead of the government, the actor, I can't remember the character's name on the top of my head, but yeah, he managed to get that crystal out of that ship when they couldn't barely open the goddamn thing without getting the self-destruct.
I do like that. I do like like the Clark and Jarrell scene at the end.
Oh yeah, he was at the fortress trying to tell him about it, because just when he was about to start his training, they got a little setback when Kara has arrived on this planet. Well, not arrived, but it like reappeared in this planet, and telling him his side of the story, that my brother could not be trusted. He was dangerous, and that neither could your cousin. And now you need to watch over her now.
Also, you know what? No, wait. That's no, that's not from this episode.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say something else. All right, yeah, this is from this episode. Okay, all right. There's no way you can track someone from a drawing. Okay, like this literally copied this. I feel like Madam Web copied this idea from Smallville. Okay, literally, they're like, oh, we got a drawing, so we can find them because of a drawing from memory. I'm like,
how am I supposed to know what this person looked like? It could be anyone.
I saw that picture. There's no way I would be able to find this person. I'm like, there's 1,000 people.
She literally looks nothing like that in the picture. Literally, I'm not even joking.
That dude must have like some superpowers too, because there's no way I would have been able to get that. I'm like,
I wouldn't be able to identify that anyway. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to remember the top of my head if I go to a fucking police station and fucking draw up the description of what they look like.
If Matt, you attacked me and I did not know you or nothing, and I did not know how to, like, I would just say white guy with brown hair.
That's not, that won't be enough.
I'm just saying, I would not be like, because I'm like, I got like a 5-second glimpse of him. I didn't just get like a 2-hour, like I wasn't watching.
You must have a fucking photographic memory to memorize their appearance.
It's like Madam Web. Whenever he saw the girls, like he's like, oh, I'm gonna go. We're using AI off of this drawing to find them.
This generated AI shit.
At least that one made more sense because like, oh, it's technology, okay. This one, it's like a private investigator to find them off a drawing, and I'm like, no way. There's no way.
No way.
But we do have a couple more episodes to talk about, so we must move on and go to ratings. Jacob, 1 to 10.
I'm gonna give this about. I will say it's a 6 out of 10.
Okay, Matt, what about you?
I'm going for a 7. A very solid episode, even though it's not as good as the premiere, but it was a strong episode. And I thought that with Kara and Clark, they had such a great on-screen chemistry, a great moment with at the barn, talk like trying to give a little bit of a glimpse of her memories on Krypton when she knew him as a baby. And I thought the way she was talking about that story, talking about her own backstory, was really good. I mean, I feel like that this was a great opportunity for Clark to learn more about his home world without having the knowledge of from Jarrell from the Fortress, because that's all he knows. Because from Kara, from according to Kara, like this is the only home he knows, and that's what he knows and when he grew up in. And Kara is like, it's going to be hard for her to adjust this new world that she now is going to be called home to her, because the memory she had was on Krypton, and it's devastating that she will never see anyone that her family ever again. I mean, that was like, I thought it was my favorite scene of the whole episode.
I'm going to go a little higher. I'll go 7.5. I really did enjoy this episode. Laura Vandervoort, I feel like is going to become a favorite part of this show for me, and not just because she's very nice to look at, but she does do a very good job, and she really gets better in this next episode, which, speaking of, that's a good place to parlay. Let's get into season 7, episode 3, called Fierce.
Clark.
No, no. They found a body. They found your body.
Wasn't me. I'm real, Clark. I was never supposed to come back.
She stole $10 million from me.
You know I'd never hide anything from you.
Smallville, followed by Supernatural. All new episodes this Thursday, starting at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Kara desperately wants to make new friends and fit in on Earth, but Clark tells her to keep a low profile until she can get her powers under control. Despite his warnings, when Smallville's annual Miss Sweet Corn beauty pageant comes around, Kara signs up and meets the competition. Tyler, Carly, and Tempest. That is not that woman's name. You cannot change my mind on it.
What about
We-
Ashley, Sabrina, and Miranda?
Tempest is the name of
Isn't
a
her
British wrestling
isn't her
YouTuber
fake
that I
isn't her
follow.
fake alias now? Isn't her Kara's fake alias just called Kara Kent? That's
Yeah,
just
wait,
what
no.
her.
Way to name your beautiful daughter after a William Shakespeare play, parents. Like, was King Lear taken? Was
And also how they were
Ophelia
able to come up
taken?
with how was Clark was able to come up with a cover story when she has when they're not going to be able to check her records that has no records of her being born. You were able to get away with it with Clark for that forged adoptions, but how the hell was he
Lionel
able to
Luther
get away
helped
with it?
out.
How Lionel Luther is missing. He's nowhere to be found right now at this
Maybe
point. So
Oliver Queen. Oliver Queen.
I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a plot hole that just wanted just not think about it too much.
I mean,
I'm
the same
just
thing. Looking at like how a person that works for the National Enquirer can get a job at the National Enquirer without having journalism degrees.
I'm just saying, Othello the Moor of Venice was right there collecting dust. 3 meteor-infected vixens who plan to use their powers to steal a treasure map to the hidden Smallville time capsule. So the Blockbuster Hall included National Treasure. Very good. Meanwhile, Lana returns to Smallville and wants to restart whatever romance she had with Clark. Because of course she does. And Metropolis Agent Carter interrogates no relation to Haley Atwell's character of the same name, interrogates Lex and is further searched for Kara's missing spaceship, while Chloe and Jimmy clash with the vain and egotistical Grant over the developing story in Smallville. So, like we were teasing, this episode is essentially drop dead gorgeous without any of the dark humor, but I really did enjoy this episode. We see more stuff with Kara. We see her kind of grow. You kind of get the clash of like Clark trying to show her the way, but Kara's like, I'm my own person. You got to let me do things and figure things out on my own. There needs to be like a marriage between the two, and they're trying to figure it out. It could have gone so
I will
cliche,
say,
but they didn't really overstay the welcome on that. I liked
I
that.
kind of liked it. I kind of liked the idea of the reverse where Clark was still struggling to use his
It's like
powers,
he's
and he needed
Jonathan
his
and
and he
she's
needed like his parents to help him to learn how to control it, even though they have no experience of it. But now with Clark is with her cousin, who still has the time to adjust some of the new abilities that she never used before, and help her having her to be the mentorship to her. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was a really good
like
scene.
she's like he's like Jonathan now, and he's like trying to coach her to use her abilities.
It feels like he's
While
being
she,
more of the father figure to Kara.
yeah, which I kind of really wish Martha was here because I think it would have been so better. But
But they've written her out of the show, so there's nothing they can do about it anyway. I mean, it
which
would have been interesting. I mean, because I would have loved if Jonathan were alive today and Martha were alive, was around. I'm pretty sure that they would have welcomed her in the home with open arms and helping her out whenever comes around. And I thought that would have been interesting if they were around.
I loved like we were alluding to, this episode is essentially like Drop Dead Gorgeous with some superpowers thrown in. Like the three girls who are trying to find this treasure map, like they literally walk in like synchronized. It's either Drop Dead Gorgeous or Mean Girls. Like pick one and like
I hated
go
this
back.
one. This is the worst part about the episode of this whole side story about these, like you said, Drop Dead Gorgeous episode. It almost the tone for me felt like a little bit of a downgrade because it looked like it could have been done in season 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Like Freak of the Week episode,
I
and it
mean,
just
to
felt
be
like
fair, like I'm sitting there watching. This is my least favorite episode out of the three because I just watched this and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
yeah, these are just three con artists who are meteor infected who want to get a treasure map so they can sell it and get it filthy rich. They've been doing it from across the country,
We
apparently.
we even see the gas station from season one where the debate flared up where like was Lex under the influence or was he like aware? And like one of the early debates here on the show flared up. Like that gas station makes a reappearance. That was a nostalgia hit for me.
Did anyone else catch the Beauty and the Geek reference? Because I should be at home watching Beauty and the Geek, and I'm like, oh my god, it's
You
like for
you
I
last
you
season
remember
it was
I
wrestling.
remember when that came on in the CW when Beauty and the Geek was a thing. I've never
Like they
even watched
needed
that
they
show.
needed something. They're like, oh, we referenced this like wrestling a lot last year. Now we have to reference Beauty and the Geek since that's our show. And I'm like, does anyone give a shit about Beauty and the Geek? I mean, no
No,
one
nobody
gives a
cared. I mean,
shit.
how long did that show came on? Like
I
four
doubt
seasons?
Smallville fans are watching Beauty and the Geek. Okay,
I don't even know how long. Like, did you tell me that it ran for like 4 seasons or
5
something?
seasons it ran.
Five,
Okay,
close.
five.
But also, like the bet, like that was the worst part about the episode that I did not like, and I agree it's my least favorite. But the best part about that is this was really about Kara trying to fit in and adjusting to this new world that now she's gonna have to live in and get used to things. But I thought that was the best part about this episode is she has to come into and learning about her own and do it her own way and not Clark's way.
Also, you know what made me laugh when Kira was getting wet for Jimmy when her eyes were just like,
Oh yeah, are we going to talk about that part? I mean, yeah,
she's
they
like,
they did they actually did had a love interest in. I believe it might have been in the comics, but I know
Jimmy
that they
Olsen.
had a
It's
love
Jimmy Olsen in the
interest in
comics.
Supergirl movie that they did had a love interest in there too. So yeah, that I guess they want to stick that traditional, but and she was almost fried everyone out in the
She's like,
out in the open when her
I
heat vision
loved
started to emerge. When she got a little horny, you know what I'm talking about, how the heat vision works.
I loved that
yeah,
callback
I do
though
not like that.
when Clark was like, used to happen to me all the time. I'm like, oh yes, we know.
Oh
We
yeah.
we
Lana,
We
she
all
goes,
know
Jimmy.
we
Lana
are
and
aware.
now Jimmy.
Dirty man.
Which you know what I thought, which I'm like, he's I can understand what Clark sees in Lana. What is she seeing Jimmy? Oh wow, look at that bow tie. I'm like,
I think she's one of those girls who she's very tough, but she's looking for a cute nerdy guy. I think she's a sucker for that.
I also like Kim Coates in this episode again, where he's like, like him and Lex who weren't working together, they're now working together because he's like, oh, you have resources, I have resources, we combine, we can help each other. I like that aspect of it, and I also like Kim Coates telling Lex, oh, he says like I've been looking for this girl, but I just saw her and she was in the water, and he goes, oh, so she was an angel, and thinking Lex was crazy. That made me laugh. He's like,
That was kind of funny that when Lana says that Clark's cousin when it tells the Lex, yeah, from Minnesota, which that's where I'm from, motherfucker. Like this is one of those times where CW shows they always name drop the fucking state where I'm from. They did that with Supernatural many times. There were many times when there's an episode when Sam and Dean go on a cross country to hunt down another monster. Most of the time they end up in Minnesota, even though they shot it in Vancouver.
Also, nobody was around when this woman froze Jimmy. Like, security cameras don't exist. Like, these girls been going around killing people in town, and no one sees them. No one looks on camera and goes, "Hey."
I mean, they're out in the alley, and I guess that security cameras that they don't really
Lex
have
Luthor,
in a small
who owns
town.
the building, does not have security. Because Lex, like, I trust my employees.
They suck.
I don't think they're gonna
they
steal
suck
from me.
with he sucks when it comes to security, bro.
I trust my judgment too much.
I trust them. Don't worry about it.
I can say at my job that if someone calls asking for a specific person, I literally have to say, like, hold on, put them on hold, check and see if they're actually there, let them know that someone is calling for them. And if they're not there, I can't even say like, oh, they stepped away, they're like gone for the day. I just have to say they are unavailable. I have to be that vague. So there's no excuse for Lex like just to be this laissez-faire with the talent, be like, yep, that's fine.
I mean, don't you find it funny? Don't you find it funny when Jimmy was nearly frozen to death and he doesn't have frostbite all over his body by now? Like
they
he was
say
nearly fucking like nearly turned into a popsicle.
they say he had hypothermia, and I've had some allergies the past couple of days, but I've also had a bit of the chills. Like I'm under the blanket and like I'm like freezing up a little bit. And like this dude supposedly had hypothermia. How does he not look like Mr. Freeze right now? Like, so explain
All
that.
right, everyone, chill, chill. The Iceman.
Somebody alert Aaron's brother to come along and shoot him to make him like actually look like he's been frozen.
I mean, if you unthawed him like in Batman and Robin, he's completely fine.
I mean, seriously though, like, I mean, the only thing I had an issue with, I'm like, he like instead of opening the door, the first thing he starts getting chilly. He just turns the heat.
It's like that shit ain't gonna work. That's your first thought. Instead of opening the door, like you said, Jake, I agree that he just suddenly just reaches for the fucking heater.
Then he tries to go to the second door. I'm like, there's a good chance, Jimmy. If that one broke, the second one's gonna break as well.
And also, Kara just shows up just in a nick of time, just like that. Like, where the hell does she come from? How do you know what was going on? Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just overlooked that.
They never explained, by the way. Oh yeah, do they explain how Kira got out of jail?
Oh, she broke out of jail. She
Like,
broke out to save Clark.
Back up, like, oh, I went back to jail.
But it was so funny. But it was so funny that Clark just fucking called the cops on Kara for breaking into the time capsule where because she was looking for the treasure map that leads to the shield that has something connection of a Kryptonian symbol.
So are
she
they basically stealing from the Goonies now?
Yeah, this was literally more of Goonies than National Treasure.
Which also I do like at the end how Lex thanked her, like he said thank you, and she's like, I don't know, and he goes,
yeah, he went to go and confront her.
A visitor. He said, "Whether you're
no, are you a savior or you're a warning?" Because he knows that soon. Because he was very clear that hey, I'm not going to tell anybody, and because I had a friend who I wanted to trust, but he never trusted me, turned my back on me because no one was completely honest with me, and I was hoping that it would be different. But apparently she kept denying it. But he tells her, like, sooner or later, I'm going to find out the truth. Are you a savior or are you a warning? That was my favorite scene of the whole episode, even though the episode was mediocre. But this one with Lex confronting Kara was definitely the best part. I love that.
Also, when he's telling Kim Coates' character that he goes, someone needs to be here to save the human race for what's coming. And I'm just like, oh, he's becoming more comic book accurate right now, where he's sitting there talking about how he needs to save the human race. And I'm just like telling, like, because I'm like, this is the Lex that I'm talking about, where he's paranoid that the alien invasion is going to come.
Yeah, well, he's seen firsthand that there's been an alien invasion. Fucking an alien was inside of him, literally, for fuck's sake. Yeah, of course he's going to be like overly prepared in alien invasion because that's the reason why he started this whole 33.1 by rounding it up and turning them into becoming super soldiers and even extracting some of the DNA from meteor affected, like even the phantoms, even the escaping phantoms. Yeah, because he was trying to prepare.
Superman is a threat to society.
Like
Yeah,
at a
yeah,
certain
even in
point,
because, and that's the best part about what the Lex character is because he's so complex that he thinks he's the hero of the story, and he doesn't think that Superman's the hero because he's an alien. He has all the power of the gods, and the guy
And
who
we're
who
getting
doesn't
this
have,
Lex, like
and he's
literally,
getting more credit, and he doesn't think that he deserves the credit because he's just an alien who has all these abilities, but he didn't grow, but he's not a human.
at a certain point, Lex is going to turn into the dude from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You're next. You're next.
I
I
still
was
gotta watch
afraid he
that. I
wants
still
us to
gotta
be.
watch that movie. I still gotta
Oh,
see Invasion. I know it's so
It's
good.
great. It is.
I
A
know I've
great
been
movie.
hearing a lot of great things, but I still have not watched that film yet.
it's very good.
I just want to see Lex at the Daily Planet. So I just push Jimmy over and run, fucking run, grabs like Garrett Gabriel by the shirt, run, fucking, they're here, they're here, and then he runs
I
away
mean,
like, what the
I mean,
fuck was that?
piggybacking with the secrecy with Lex. I mean, yeah, if Clark would have told him the truth that he's an actual alien, he has all these powers in it, and I did save your life on that bridge. I mean, even they Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling said like, yeah, he should have fucking told him the truth. But then it would not have been interesting if they have told him a lot sooner because then
So,
their whole rivalry would not have happened in the first place.
so what's the what's your ratings for this episode? Because I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10.
Hmm.
Okay, Matt, what about you?
I'm giving it a 5 because there's some good moments in this episode that I liked, but it's definitely not that good
It
because
was the drop dead gorgeous stuff.
the
He
drop
loved that.
dead gorgeous, the fucking
He
Goonies
loved it. He
episode
was like,
was so
he
stupid.
was like,
But I will say that the shield that Clark had found in the time capsule is definitely going to play another bigger part in the season. Like that's the only thing that really kept the show kept the episode better instead of being a complete dumpster fire.
I'm going 5, and I'm giving all 5 of my points to Clark and Kara alone because their stuff was compelling and the rest just kind of there, really, not
Oh
necessarily
man, the one thing I
terrible.
want to say before we move on to the next episode, what you brought up with Clark and Kara by the end of the episode, that she tells him that you're not human and you never will be because what's going to happen in 50 years? Everyone you know is going to be gone, and you're pretty much going to outlive everyone on the planet. And if you think you can hide out in the farm with Lana and grow old together, you're completely fooling yourself. You know what that reminded me of that dialogue? It reminded me in the deleted scenes with the Martian Manhunter when he said that pretty similar to Clark if you watch that delayed scene that didn't make it into the final cut when they first meet up for the first time. And I thought that was really interesting that they wanted to bring that line back when it came with Kara.
Yeah, that was a nice little callback. If I still have the scene in my folder, I will play it here.
But they're making you weak. No matter how hard you try, you'll never be human.
Let's close things out by taking a look at the the episode of the show
the
where
best
we have
episode of the season. The
not
one very superish manish.
yeah, we get not one but 2 Supermen in this. This is called Cure.
How can I help you?
I want to be cured.
Thursday. A medical genius
You don't know anything about this doctor.
He can give me a chance at a normal life.
with a treatment that's a real killer.
He's murdering his patients one by one.
What are you doing? Clark!
Smallville, followed by Supernatural.
Lex hires Dr. Curtis Knox, who claims that he can air quotes cure someone from being an air quotes meteor freak, changing their lives. Chloe takes an interest in this, but Dr. Knox may have another secret, as Clark finds out that Dr. Knox is an ageless immortal who needs blood from kryptonite-infected people to keep his young wife eternally young. He's pretty much Dracula with kryptonite.
Actually,
Means
he's way more of a Vandal Savage because there's not much
That,
we already know
that
he's
is his
immortal.
name. That is the character he's meant to play.
Yeah, because I think that that's what he was meant to play, but they definitely changed it.
Because
But
they
I don't
couldn't
know.
get the
But I
rights
don't know
to, they
that I
couldn't
don't
get
even
the
know
rights
that
to.
Knox is even his real name. I think that's just his alias that he
That is
goes
his
by
alias.
because throughout the ages, throughout the ages, he's been going by many names.
You want to
throughout
hear something, Matt? You want to hear why you're right?
Why?
Because in Legends of Tomorrow, when they go to the 60s, the doctor's name is Curtis Knox.
Oh, right. You're right. Fuck. It's been a while since I watched the first season of Legends of Tomorrow, but you're definitely on point. Yeah, he's definitely because it makes perfect sense of his backstory because he's not just some he can't be just some original character that he just randomly just pull out of nowhere in this episode. So he's clearly is Vandal Savage, even though
Yeah,
they
he is
never
Vandal
name
Savage.
dropped it.
Yeah,
But
they
I
said
think
that.
if they said that Curtis Knox, it probably went by that name in comics. I could be wrong about that, but I think that was intentionally him as Vandal
Yeah,
Savage.
they said what the showrunner said. The reason why is because at the time the DC was having issues with the creators of Vandal Savage, and so they couldn't get the rights. But they said that's who they wanted to use Dean Cain as, and so they said, well, let's say he's Curtis Knox, but that's not really his real name.
Yeah.
That's what
Which
they
I
said.
which I do agree. I do believe that even in the episode, that's not even his real name because he went by so many names through the ages.
I mean, they hint heavily at Vandal Savage in the comic. Like, I've been speared by Mayan warriors, which I'm like, that's in the
Yeah,
comics. And
yeah.
then he says, "You were." He said, which he said the mark, which yeah, they like. And then at the end,
Did you
whenever he
see a
says,
bunch of
"Whoever,
photos through all
he
the
can't
ages
be
where he
killed."
makes an appearance? Like he was with the Nazis, he was with it through all the way through 30s and 60s, 40s, and all that stuff. That was so good. And if us as DC fans who knows about Vandal Savage, it's clearly it is Vandal Savage the whole time.
Yeah. Which Ryan?
I do need to finish reading this. Meanwhile, Kara makes an alliance with Jimmy to find out where her spaceship crystal is being held, while John Jones warns Clark that Kara is dangerous and tells him to find the Kryptonian crystal before Kara does. Elsewhere, Lana secretly watches Lex through her ISIS Foundation to help meteor freaks. So, this
I love the
so
conflict between Kara and John Jones, where she says, "You, who are you gonna believe, me or the Martian Man?"
Oh yeah, when John Jones shows up at the Kent farm, that was a really good scene. It was out of nowhere. He knows about their history and he knows about Zor-El that he tried to kill his own brother, and it's like telling another side of the story. I mean, it's pretty much the similar story to what Jor-El told him in the fortress, except there's more context. And tell him that you need to find that crystal because if you don't find the crystal, there's going to be a lot major
Because Zor-El
consequences.
was in line with
And also,
Zod. Zor-El was,
even Kara fucking eavesdropped on their conversation, which we all saw that coming because she's so desperate to get that crystal.
I did really like though that Dean Cain though. My favorite part was Dean Cain. Dean Cain, by the way, I don't know, did y'all on your Blu-rays get the Super Christopher Reeve medallion tribute?
I think I do have the DVD. I do have the DVD
On the
version, but
Blu-ray, I don't know if it's on the Bluray, but on the DVDs, there I don't know if you had this on your Blu-ray, but at the end of the episode, is Dean Cain in the Camp Farm. He's wearing a leather jacket, and he says, "Christopher Reeve's meant a lot to us and everything." And by going to the Christopher Reeve and Dana Reeve Foundation, if you donate, you will get these Superman emblems. You
yeah,
know,
you'll get the Superman tags and you can make a difference. They did it. They did an
it
episode
was on
of
the
that after
episode, and
with
then it
Dean
was in the
Cain.
DVDs. Did you
And
get that on your Blu-ray?
I do believe it's on the DVD, but I don't like if you watch the end of the episode on the Blu-ray, then you didn't brought it up. That probably much obvious that they didn't put that on the Blu-ray. I'm guessing they didn't.
I'm not sure. I will have to take a look, but we all know this, and Aaron White definitely knows this. He was talking to me about it off camera, but Dean Cain is rather famous for being Superman himself in the TV show
The last Superman before Tom Welling.
The Adventures of Lois and Clark.
It was called it was called Lois and Clark: The Adventures of Superman, which I
I
only
own the
watched
DVDs.
I only watched like few episodes here and there, but I was not
You
like
know
a
what?
biggest fan of the show.
I loved it as a child. Like when I was a little boy, I did not know what Superman was. So okay, I was like young, like 5, I think, when it was. And so like it was like airing on TNT, and so every morning it would come on TNT, and so I'd watch that before I go to Head Start, which is preschool basically. And so basically, I was watching that, and all of a sudden, like they had like this, and I honestly rewatching it as an adult, you're like, this is not as good as Smallville.
Yeah, I know. Like I watched that show I watched a few episodes in
It's
adult,
very
and
fucking cheesy as
is
well.
very fucking cheesy 90s soap opera in a Superman show that it
Like,
just
oh
did
no,
not, the
these
quality
kids
does
are hacked the computer. These kids are trying to make adults do things they want,
it
and
felt
then
it
I'm
felt
gonna pretend
it
like they
felt so
think I'm
corny.
Superman.
It just did not age well. I'm sorry, the show didn't really hold up
Lex
for
Luthor
quality.
goes and gives somebody an action figure of Superman and makes him disappear into a child slavery thing, and I'm like,
Did
what
they
the
did
hell
they
is
one time
this?
did they one time had a Looney Tune cartoon character in that episode? If I could have sworn that happened.
I didn't finish it all, like, because I'm
I
like
didn't even
watching
finish it
this.
all either. I mean, I've only seen a few episodes as a kid, but then watch some of the episodes as an adult. Like I've
There
said
was
before,
one, the pilot I thought was really pretty good, so
I'm like,
somewhat pretty good. But then the pilot, one thing I did like was Lex Luthor, where they put the cobra in there, and he looks at the cobra to, like, see if he can stare down death. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting because he wants to test his limits of mortality. And I thought that was something like that would absolutely something Lex Luthor would do. But then I'm like, he doesn't look like Lex Luthor. He's not fucking bald. He
I'm
does
not.
not.
Yeah, but neither was Gene Hackman. Well, technically Gene Hackman was bald, but he was
wore a
wearing a
bald
wig.
cap. He couldn't wear a
He
bald
wore a
cap for
wig.
like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, we
he
can
wore the
apply this
ball
to
cap. He did. He wore a ball cap.
you couldn't wear a bald cap in this show. But yeah, at least Michael Rosenbaum commits to the character. I mean, I feel like the other two actors.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Michael Rosenbaum definitely committed to the character when he was not like the biggest comic book fan. And there's no social media. He was only committed to the character that was written in the script, and he just went at it, and that's why it was so good. Because he barely had he wasn't really a big hardcore fan. He's always been more of a horror fan.
Which I will tell you this, I really liked about the opening episode. It's a callback to season 1, B-Girl.
Oh yeah, they brought
Oh,
back the
yeah.
recurring character, but also they recasted because there's
Yeah,
no
they
way that
fucking
that's the same
recast
actor.
it. I don't understand why they recasted her. Maybe it's because they're like, well, it's just like a 5-second cameo. So, well, the hardcore fans will know who it is.
Even for me as a viewer, when I watch this, like, who's she staring at? Who is this chick? Until Chloe mentioned of who she is.
This is B-Girl because we didn't bother to
and
bring
also
back
kill
the
two
real
of your.
actress.
And also, she said you killed two of my best friends. They weren't your best friends back then. What the hell are you talking about? And also, they weren't dead. They were in a coma. Like, what the hell? They weren't dead. I feel like that was a little bit. I feel like it was a little bit of a plot hole that the writers did not think about it. Didn't
the Asian
rewatch
guy
the
that was
episode.
running for class president. She was good friends with
And
him.
the mean girl, that two of them got
she was
attacked.
good friends with her too. I guess they
There's no way I
after.
bought into that. If you because as my fan of I was like, wait, when were they your best friends? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Which I do.
Also,
like
they
that.
weren't dead. They weren't even dead.
Why
They
was
survived.
Curtis Oz killing people? That makes no sense to me. Why?
No,
he would be
also
killing
like the
people.
reason why he did mention why he's killing people to take their organs so he can transplant his wife.
Wouldn't it make more sense to take
have an
their
eternal
organs
life. So he can have an
while
eternal
he's
life.
there? Why would you cure them?
Well, that's the only way
Why
to
would
do
you
it.
cure
You
them?
have to do that by killing them, and you have to do it by killing them.
Why would you cure them and then send them off and be like, "I'll kill you 3 days from now"? I'm like, that makes no logical sense.
I know that was a little odd, but I feel like that was just using it as an excuse to get Lex because those are his patients from 33.1, and that's why he needed the meter fix. Like, hey, I will make you an offer that you couldn't refuse. I will cure them and erase all the memories, all what you did to them, so that you're not incriminated because it's going to be incriminated by you once they're out in the open because they're witnesses. They seen what you did to them. And I think that was just using it as an excuse just to round up a bunch of meteor infected.
By the way, Lex is a stupid moron for like literally just confronting him like, "Hey, I know what you did out there in the public, no police, nothing." Just drops up and says,
well, he can get away with murder. Well, he can get away with murder because he had no intention for him letting him walk.
He just goes out there and confronts him. Like, the dumbest things these characters make a show is like, when you're going to confront somebody, bring somebody with you because this person will probably kill you for exposing their secret. Okay.
And also, Clark just killed Knox. He threw him in the high voltage.
It's like,
are we not going to talk? Somebody? Like, come on. Because to his knowledge, he had no idea that he was immortal. So he thought he was just an ordinary guy, and he fucking, in the heat of the moment, he just punches him through the high voltage. That's literally killing him. And he literally thought he was dead. So literally, he just murdered that guy.
Kane said, "I was Jack the Ripper."
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was pretty cool that he mentioned, like, I was Jack the Ripper. Literally.
Yeah. When you saw Dean Cain, what was your reaction, Ryan? When you saw Dean Cain, you're like, "Is that Dean Cain?"
I did mention that.
I was in bed. I was watching this. Like, allergies were at like high levels. Like, I was like just out of it, and I'm like lolling off, and then I see his face. And I'm like, is that Dean Cain? Like, and sure enough, yes.
Are you like the Jerry Seinfeld? Like, what's the deal with Dean Cain?
What's the deal? What's the deal with but he definitely plays against type. He definitely plays against type in this one, and I thought that he was great. Can you all tell me if he comes back? I have a feeling he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
I'll save the suspense. They don't even bother to mention him ever again after this episode. After John Jones imprisoned him, but you never see him again after this. Which was I think it was kind of like a big missed opportunity.
I think he did that because there was like as a favor because the showrunners, because he was like, yeah, I love Superman, playing Superman, and I think what it just happened is that like they were like we're heading out, like do you want to do this like Superman role, like as to pay tribute since we had Chris Reeve. We like to have Dean Cain to pay tributes as Superman legacy. And I guess he said, yeah, sure. And so yeah, no, and also yes, if you're wondering, Brandon Routh does not appear on the show at all.
No.
I mean,
He's always been a movie actor, dude.
Well, I mean, he
I
appears
mean,
in the Arrow, I'm saying, but this is back when he was doing movies before he appeared in the Arrowverse.
You'll never
plus, I
see Gene
mean,
Hackman.
plus Superman Returns, like came
Just
out
came out
fairly
like 2 years.
recently.
It came out a year after. It came out a year, like a year, like before, a year before season 7.
Yeah, Superman Returns, and the movie did so well, we didn't get another Superman movie until
It was so
7 years
good that
after.
we couldn't
It's such
get
a
like
master
we could it
class
was
that
so massive that they just couldn't, like, there's no way we could top this. Bryan Singer's like, there's no way I can be topped. So, and so that basically, because Bryan Singer could not be topped, he said that, they're not going to make another one because it would just not be good enough to swallow.
When entire documentaries are made about a Superman movie that never even happened, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, and people would rather talk about that than Superman Returns, that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing.
Superman, I always said Superman the movie made you believe a man can fly. Superman the movie Superman Returns. I said this when the Man of Steel was coming out too. I said Superman Returns made you believe a man could fall asleep in the theater.
Einstein.
People claim that Superman Returns was a sequel, like to Superman 1 and 2.
It was. Bryan Singer said
it was not really. It was not really a sequel.
It was
to
a sequel / reboot.
It was more of a spiritual thing.
Like Terminator
thing.
Genesis. Think of it like this. That's Terminator Genesis. And this is, and you know how Terminator Genesis is supposed to be.
Genesis was literally like a prequel / reboot. To be honest with you, that was like fucking doing this whole pre-bookquel.
Terminator 1 and 2 happened, even though this is a reboot. That's what they were kind of doing with Superman Returns. Like, oh yeah, Superman 1 and 2 happened, but really it's a sequel. It's early.
It was just more of a callback because this is taking place in the modern day time when the original Superman movie was in the late 70s. So it wouldn't make any sense. So my only assumption is that this is more of like a spiritual callback from the Chris Donner Superman, but it's more of like a remake to the Superman, the movie, except that now it's in the modern day time and he's returned to Earth, and they do a lot of memorabilia of callbacks and Easter eggs that was done in the original Superman movie, but now this is a different continuity.
What do you think happened to him? Like, Dean Curtis Knotts, Ryan?
I mean, I'm sure he's on a Martian prison somewhere with growing.
Well, yeah, he did mention that.
A Martian prison growing shit potatoes with Matt Damon. But
him and Bizarro are cellmates, probably. Bizarro cellmates.
Yeah, they're probably bunkmates. They're
probably playing chess like Professor X and Magneto. And
like,
are they playing like chess, kind of like in Superman 2 when fucking Lex and Otisburg fucking played hologram chess in the hologram room in the jail cell. Remember that one?
One more thing about Superman Returns is that that Einstein was wrong. Approaching the speed of light does not slow down time. Approaching a movie theater playing Superman Returns does. But to close them,
I will say that anytime someone mentions Superman Returns, this came out when Smallville season 5 had just aired. And this was literally like, I remember the casting and crew were invited to see Superman Returns.
I mean, it came out when season 5 ended.
Michael Rosenbaum and Erica Durance went to the premiere, and they were like, "Oh yeah, supporting our Super Bros." Yeah, they're all happy as could be and everything. And then I just remember like websites were writing. I remember one website. They said the showrunners even said one website that said, "Superman Return. If you wanted to see a great dynamic battle, of evil between Superman and evil Lex Luthor." And he says, and chemistry between him and Lois Lane, then go watch Smallville season 5 because Superman Returns has none of that.
When a CW show,
I mean, it is true. If you watch the movie, you'll know why.
What were you saying, Ryan?
When a CW show does it better, then you have messed up somewhere.
I'm like, seriously, but yeah, Matt, what you were saying.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd be lying. I did love it when that film came out in theaters, and I remember being blown away, and I watched it like 2 or 3 times. But then as time goes on, I can literally acknowledge that it did not age well. It just didn't age well as time But I was so interested that they were going to do a sequel, and they pitched it. They gave us the pitch of what they were going to do in the sequel from Superman Returns, and it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be called Man of Steel. I could have sworn that that was their working title, and that Law was going to return and play the General Zod. They were going to have
Brainiac
Brainiac
was supposed
showing
to.
up, and it was going to be more action packed than the
It would have
last
been so
movie.
cool to see that. But the thing is, though,
Yeah.
they were so busy.
They
Like,
just
I don't
didn't.
understand
It just wasn't
why.
it wasn't well received, and it didn't perform well. It underperformed at the box office, and that's why
And
it didn't move forward to the sequel.
I mean, it just, yeah, because it's like they spent $200 million. Like, let's just build all this shit and
They
make
thought,
them
hey,
fly
they thought,
around. Like,
but also, I will not gonna lie, the first teaser trailer when that came out, when season 5 of Smallville was still going on, I remember was like, oh God, I cannot wait. This film, the John Williams theme, it was bringing back the dialogue from Jor-El, his own speech in the original film, and it was like more updated in the modern day time. And I was like, oh, dude, especially when
it would have
Superman's
been
out into
great.
space and he just flies torpedoes into the Earth. That was gave me chills. I'm not gonna lie, I was
You
so
know, when
fucking
Man of
hyped for
Steel
that
came
movie.
out, Man of Steel, the teaser for Man of Steel, where Superman's hitchhiking and everything,
Yeah.
people were so worried, like, oh God, please tell me this isn't gonna be a boring ass Superman movie again, because we already had that shit in 6.
Dude,
They were afraid.
I remember
That
when
kind
they
of
played that
promise.
teaser. They played that teaser trailer in front of the Dark Knight Rises, and
People were so mad.
they had two different teaser trailers. They had the one that played in theaters with Jonathan Kent being the narration, and then when it came, and then they showed it again online, and they had the dialogue from Jor-El from Russell Crowe. Dude, I saw that in the big screen in the teaser trailer, and seeing Superman taking off into space like he's flying like a fucking shuttle or missile. Oh my God, how beautiful and gorgeous that shot was. And this was like a year away from Man of Steel. And I was dying to see this movie as soon as possible because
Me too.
I was digging the tone, and it felt like it was going to be something special. And they definitely took the music from the Howard Shore score from the Fellowship of the Ring.
I just don't understand. Really, like, I don't understand why Superman Returns, where this is the director and the writers of X-Men 2. You would think that I don't understand where the fuck they missed the mark at, because it's like, it felt like they were like, they forgot they were writing like, okay, they were just trying to pay homage to Superman 1 and 2. They're like, we forgot one crucial thing, which is the story. You forgot the
Yeah, make a
story.
good story. And
You
also,
forgot the
where's the action? There's no action in this movie
like,
anyway.
there's like 2 sequences I could, and I'm being generous.
Dude, the plane sequence was the best part of the movie. Was great action set pieces,
They
but
wrote
also
one
it was
good
just him.
sequence and then said,
You're just seeing him lifting
guys, we
shit.
did it.
I mean,
Now
literally,
what?
Superman Returns was literally a remake to the Superman the movie. That's
He's
that in
fucking
full of memory
creepy too.
berries.
His
And
Superman's
Brandon
fucking
Routh's
creepy.
Superman, he doesn't have much dialogue. He's literally just saying the same fucking dialogue from the first movie, like a callback.
And he's creepy as fuck in that movie too.
Yeah, he's basically
He
stalking his
stalks
ex.
Lois Lane the whole movie. He goes to her house with her husband is there, and they're like having dinner. He's just watching her and her kid like this. I'm like, dude, someone should call the police on this motherfucker. Like,
But
this dude is
we do need to wrap up Cure and then take things home. So speaking of Cure, Jacob, 1 to 10.
I am going to give this episode was really good. I know we didn't talk much about it, but I really do like this episode. I think Dean Cain is great in this episode as the villain. And I do like how when Lex tells that backstory about I put so many bullets in him, like he did not, and I like how it feels like Clark could see it like that Lana, where it's like he wants to save his wife. He could see that with Lana, how he wants to save Lana, and he could see the pain in him from like, and I like how the Martian man tells him, and then Kira's conflict with the Martian and everything, and I thought that was pretty good, and the whole Christopher Reeves tribute at the end. If I had to give this episode a score, I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow, you really liked that much.
It was that good of an episode. At the end,
I will say that the one thing I did
not.
not like was the breakup with Jimmy and Chloe all over again.
I do like the song too. I like that.
There was that Kelly. Who's singing that song too?
I think Michael Rosenbaum got a friend of his to do that song, and he said on the podcast, he says, I had a friend do it for a season of Smallville, do a song for, and they took her song, and she's like, "Thank you so much, Michael. It's #1 on the iTunes charts."
I did like the fight scene between Clark and Knox. I thought that was a pretty damn good fight, and it's what you brought up before, that it was more of a metaphor to will happen with Clark if he's with Lana, that he's probably much going to outlive everyone he knows, and that was just more of a metaphor for this episode, that Knox was doing whatever it takes, even if he has to go far extreme measures to get there, to make sure that it could have an eternal life with him, and things escalated.
All right, Matt, what about you?
So yeah, I'm probably it's probably do agree that this is the better episode of the three, so I'm gonna go at 8 out of 10. It was a really damn good episode. It was good to see Dean Cain to appear in the Smallville show, even though now people in today's world that don't like Dean Cain now at this moment, but at
Which
the
I'm
time,
like, I don't understand the hate. I really don't. I can understand some of it, but like, I don't really understand like a lot of the hate. It's like to
I
me, it
think it's
feels
just
like the
because
Chris
they
Pratt.
know they know he's conservative and stuff, and that's
I
why
think
they don't
honestly,
like
it's
him
like the
that
Chris
much.
Pratt hate. I don't understand. He's just literally just like, I am a conservative. Okay, that's
And
it.
he's all
I'm
about
like,
Blue Lives Matter. That's what he said.
it's not like
Just
he's
saying.
driving around saying that, and people are like, "Fuck Dean Cain." I'm like, what?
From every interview I've seen of Dean Cain, he seems like a really nice guy.
He
So,
is.
Yeah,
He's
and
a
they and
very humble guy.
he even met up with the other actors that played Superman with Tom Welling, Tyler Hoechlin. It was and Brandon Routh. They were at a convention not so long ago.
so
Disney.
to quote George Carlin, it's all bullshit, folks, and it's bad for you. But I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this episode quite a bit. Seeing Dean Cain was very nice. I liked, even though they didn't interact all that much, I like seeing Welling and Cain on screen
And
together.
you
It
need
was
to
a
watch that tribute at the end on YouTube. I don't know if it's on YouTube. It's called Dean Cain Christopher E tribute. It's
It,
appeared at the
yeah,
end of
it's really
Small.
good. It should be on YouTube. I mean, you
Matt, try
might
to
be able,
send that to him.
but
Okay?
you'll definitely have see it on the DVD at the end. But if you watch it on the Blu-ray and you didn't see it, then it's probably not there because if anyone who has watching on streaming on Hulu or digital VOD, then you're not gonna be able to see the tribute because
It's not on
they cut out the
Voodoo.
lot. I mean, they mostly cut out a lot of the tribute at the end of the episode from these other seasons on digital and Blu-ray.
Well, at least if there's one thing Dean Cain has going for him, he's got that Hallmark money coming in, and they won't stop making Christmas movies until the end of time. Like the world could blow up, and there'll be like Honk for Christmas or Christmas Comes Again or
That
something.
would be so crazy in an apocalyptic world. We got a Hallmark fucking movies left on this planet. If that's the
And
only thing fucking left, then we have to suffer through Hallmark movies.
And I'm not knocking them. I enjoy some of them. I'm just saying that like Hallmark makes a lot of Christmas movies. That's my point.
They do. I don't even watch them, and I seen promos, and yeah, there's some people out there that really enjoy the Hallmark Christmas. Not for me. I mean, I respect anyone who enjoys it. I don't know what drugs you're on, but you know what? That it's all subjective.
Well, we pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these episodes? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Collins, suck it up. Where can the people find you?
Fuck you. Fuck you. I was just laughing. I was laughing because I was thinking about that Family Guy joke where they're mocking Dean Cain, where it's just him sitting on a bench with a Superman shirt on, going, "Hey, who's that guy over here? Hey, it's Dean Cain. I'm Dean Cain." They're like, "I don't know who that is." The guy gets up, walks away. He goes, "Why won't you recognize me? I'm famous." And so it just made me laugh about that sketch about Dean Cain. Which I mean, I love Dean Cain, but I'm just saying, like I said, I thought that joke. Every time someone mentioned Dean Cain, I think of Family Guy sketch.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Dean Cain's pretty much a nice guy in real life, and I thought he
Yes.
played it. I thought he played a decent Superman. He wasn't my favorite, if I'm being honest.
I don't think
because I didn't
anyone's
I didn't
favorite.
even binge watch that show all the way through because I just didn't think the show was
It's
not,
not. It's
not the greatest.
against him. It's just
No, it's nothing against
most people
him.
say Chris Reeve or Henry Cavill. I am not. I'm sure that he has it over Brandon Routh because I don't know any motherfucker that says Brandon Routh. I don't think there's anyone that says, you know, who my favorite. That's like saying who your favorite.
Well, you'd be surprised because a lot of people bitched about the cameo in the Flash movie. Then why couldn't they get Brandon Routh to cameo in that role
You know who
instead
my
of just
favorite
fucking?
Lex Luthor is? Kevin Spacey.
Because
Well,
no
literally,
one's gonna say
no one's
that.
saying no one's saying that. No one's saying that. That's for sure.
literally in the Flash movie, if Routh showed up, like it would have been like the scene in Jurassic Park where where Wayne Knight's like, it's Ralph, it's Brandon Routh, everybody. See, nobody cares. That's exactly what would have happened.
I thought he had I thought he was a really good Superman. I mean, if he would have given him better material. But yeah, from that meme, from what you said, that was pretty fucking hilarious.
It's Brandon Routh. Oh, who gives a fuck? You know,
Dude.
Seth MacFarlane roasted him in Ted 1. They're at the end of Ted 1, where they say,
Oh, yeah, he did.
Just moved in there and got off a piece of shit movie.
I know, I remember that. That was, I think, like, it was Patrick Stewart who was the narration,
I'm sure Brandon Routh's like, fuck Patrick Stewart.
It's like, fuck Patrick Stewart. And how excited you are to see this documentary, Superman slash.
Oh God, that I just learned my
Close.
theaters. I learned my theaters getting it. I'm gonna be there, and I'm
gonna
gonna
try to
review it.
see it.
I mean, It's like they're not going to let me use it on A list because they excluded it. So you're gonna have to pay $15 to buy it. But I don't fucking care.
No,
I'll
who
buy the ticket and
cares?
to watch the documentary. I don't care. I want to see. It looks like it's going to be a
I'm waiting for
touching,
the
great
second one,
story.
Superman 2, the Brandon Routh story about how he got the role and then
No, it should be called. No, it should be the rise and fall of Superman Returns documentary.
The rise and sink, if you will. But 3D movie cinema is Jacob's channel. Matt, what do you got coming up?
Well, I recently went out to go see Beetlejuice. I will be putting out my review soon. And if you're watching this video right now, it will already be up on my channel. And
Don't say
definitely
it three
check that out
times.
and help me. And also subscribe to my channel. Help me reach 500 subscribers. And I will be recording another review the movie that I went to go see called Blink Twice. So keep an eye open for that.
All right, well,
And
all the links are
Jake,
going.
you sick bastard. I know
Well,
what you're doing. You think
all of those links are going to be in the description. Subscribe to both of these guys. Collins is joining me for the Phillips Project here on this channel, where we're reviewing all of Todd Phillips's movies. We've got School for Scoundrels coming up next, so stay tuned for that review. We've got a special guest coming on to talk about War Dogs, but that's going to be a little bit down the line. And I'm going to be
Very
watching
big,
that.
well, yeah, big
I'm going to
guest, someone I have a personal relationship to, through blood, you know, somebody that you'll see worked on the film.
And I'm going to be watching The Hangover for the first time. So a lot to look forward to with the Phillips Project. Of course, Smalltalk, the 1999 project. By the time this airs, the new episode will have dropped. I covered Chill Factor, an action movie where Cuba Gooding Jr. and Skeet Ulrich have to take a chemical weapon that they have to keep below 50 degrees or else it explodes in an ice cream truck, and they have to take it to a military base. Yes, really. And also covering the movie Outside Providence, which was written by the Farrelly brothers. Yes, those Farrelly brothers. But for Jacob Collins, for Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Kim. For Truth, for Justice, for the American Way, always hold on to Smallville. And to all 5 of Brandon Routh's fans, we truly apologize.